Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 303. Hope you're having a great day today as we're entering the second week of July. Man, this year seems to have just flown by. More than half done already. Oh my gosh, stop the world, I want to get off. I do love having my three kids home from college though. They're here working. One is up at overnight camp, sleepaway camp, their happy place, but we can still see them here and there, which is awesome. But I digress. Hey, it was a busy week in the tech space, that's for sure, highlighted by the launch of the first major competitor to Twitter called Threads by Instagram, which you can find me on, by the way, if you're there. I'm at Mark Saltzman. That's MarkSaltzman. I like it so far. It's less toxic than Twitter. For now, you can write longer posts at 500 characters, but there's no desktop version yet, like to use on a computer at this point. And interesting that Elon is looking to sue Meta, the parent company, to Threads, claiming that there's stolen code and data scraping and all that stuff. So things are going to get pretty interesting. But again, Threads is appealing, I think, because people are increasingly growing frustrated with Twitter. It was only a week ago when Musk tweeted that you were going to be limited on how many posts you can see if you don't pay up. And you have to start paying soon for TweetDeck, which is a tool used to schedule your posts. So annoying. And if it is true, Twitter's advertising revenue has dropped about 59%, then it makes sense why Musk is trying so hard to get people to pay to use Twitter. Anyhow, we have a great Tech It Out plan for you today. Prime Day is coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday, July 11th and 12th, where you can score some great deals on Amazon. And so we'll start with a chat about what to look for and also how to avoid scams leading up to and over Prime Day. Speaking of which, also on the show today, slickdeals.com will join us on how to spot the best Prime Day deals. In fact, wherever you like to shop, not just Amazon, but what you might be able to find over the next few days on sale. And also on the show, I'm going to replay my chat with ADT about its partnership with Google on its DIY-based ADT Self Setup service and how it can protect your home without breaking the bank. All of this and more on Tech It Out, powered by Asus, which I'll tell you more about shortly, but let's officially kick off this week's show. Prime Day is coming up, where there are some big deals to be had on Amazon. But we also see scammers looking to defraud you leading up to and over Prime Day. To shed light on what's happening and what to watch out for, we're joined by Scott Knapp, Director of Worldwide Buyer Risk Prevention at Amazon. Hey, Scott, thanks so much for your time.
Hi, Mark. Thanks a lot for having me.
Before we talk about those looking to exploit Prime Day, those looking to shop leading up to and over that event, let's clarify what Prime Day is exactly and when it is.
Sure. Prime Day is Amazon's deal event exclusively for Prime members. It features deals from top brands and small businesses. Coming up here fast, it's Prime Day begins in the U.S. on July 11th at bright and early 3 a.m. Eastern Time and then runs for 48 hours through July 12th.
All right, so it's Prime Days, like plural.
There you go.
And I think there's also some deals to be had leading up to Prime Day. Is that right?
That's totally fair. And yeah, I was just actually on the site a little bit ago, and yeah, there are already things starting to drop in terms of deals.
How popular is Prime Day, Scott? Can you quantify it? Like how many people shopped at this time last year, or what percentage of a jump it is over a regular shopping day at Amazon?
Yeah, Mark, last year was our biggest Prime Day ever. Prime members purchased more than 300 million items worldwide.
Wow.
One of the pretty cool things about that is they saved over 1.7 billion with a B, $billion, more than any Prime Day event we'd ever had. A pretty cool dimension is that it was also the biggest Prime Day event for our selling partners. I don't know, most folks may or may not be aware, but a lot of things we sell is partners, not Amazon retail. And most of them are small and medium-sized businesses. And And last year, their sales growth outpaced Amazon's own retail offering.
Yeah, that's great to hear because I know that there are often deep discounts on Amazon's products like Echo Show and Echo Dot and Kindle and all that. But good to hear about the third party, the other stores and resellers. So it's a win across the board. It's almost as if Prime Day has single-handedly killed Black Friday or Cyber Monday. I mean, look, it's like Christmas in July, I guess. This seems to be what everybody's talking about. Yeah. And a win for the consumer, most importantly. Awesome. All right. So now let's chat about impersonation scams. What's going on here?
Yeah. So impersonation scams, just to level set, that's when we're talking about that, we're talking about a bad actor or a scammer who's pretending to be someone you trust to get you to give them sensitive information like a credit card number, a social security number, or account details like a password or something like that. And last year during Prime Day, we saw an increase in scammers posing as Amazon to steal account credentials. Like they'll send you a message with fake link that will then say, hey, if you'll just give us your credit card information or your password, we'll make sure your account is still all good to go for Prime Day, for instance. And that's basically the MO, the modus operandi, if you will, for scammers. Try to be someone you'll answer the phone for and then convince you to give up information.
Yeah. And again, it's the timeliness of it that further dupes people because, hey, we all know it's Amazon Prime Day, or maybe you just did buy something on Amazon. So if you get a message from them saying, oh, we need you to click here to confirm your shipping details or whatever, you may be that much more likely to fall for it because it's top of mind. I guess it's not unlike romance scams around Valentine's Day, tax scams, around March or April or whatever, capitalizing on what people are thinking about or doing at that time of the year. Is that fair?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Mark. Like, for instance, the most common scam we saw all last year, and it's still going strong this year, is an order confirmation scam. Like, heck, I get these every other week, it seems like, where someone will send you a communication, like a text or an email, and sometimes they'll even call, saying, hey, can you confirm, did you actually purchase this item? And they'll pick something kind of expensive, like a smartphone. If you didn't, people start to get concerned, and they're like, oh my goodness, I don't want to get charged for this. So they'll reach back out to the scammer and give up a bunch of information, give them a password or a credit card number. That's the kind of stuff they're looking for.
Yeah, it's fear, like that you just got charged, but you didn't in fact buy that. So you're concerned and upset. And there's often a sense of urgency as well. So you don't have time to think twice about it or to ask a family member or friend. We're going to get to those kinds of tips on how to detect those red flags and what to do for sure. But Scott, is an impersonation scam the same thing as a phishing scam or smishing attempt? There's also vishing. Are we all talking about the same thing? And can you please define those terms as well?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, there's all kinds of phishing going on. Phishing in its general sense, yes, this is phishing. And it's when scammers are attempting to deceive people into giving them sensitive information. It's just like fishing for putting a line in the water and
trying to lure you away to a fake website that looks authentic.
There you go. Exactly. And what you've seen, and for those who haven't ever seen it written out, it's phishing, but it's spelled with a PH. But the smishing and the vishing, the other ishings that you hear about, smishing is just a play on that same word where it's SMS or text specific phishing, where people use an SMS to get to you. And vishing, the newest entry, is voicemail, and that's the V, where folks will leave messages or try to call you directly and pretend to be somebody.
I guess what's old is new again.
Exactly, yes.
Phone-based scammers trying to defraud you. So whether it's an email, text message, or old-fashioned phone call, or maybe it's a robocall, these malicious types are doing everything and anything to try to get at your wallet. Without further ado, let's talk about some red flags, some things that we should look out for. We already touched on one of them being that sense of urgency. And, I know there are gift card related scams and crypto related ones. So let's get to that. We are chatting with Scott Knapp, Director of Worldwide Buyer Risk Prevention at Amazon. Prime Day is coming up July 11th and 12th, and we are talking about ways to watch out for those scammers who are trying to deceive you this time of year especially. So what are those red flags, Scott?
So the things I tell people to look out for, there's even some super basic ones, believe it or not, and that's like noticeable grammar or spelling error. They will make those kinds of mistakes. Like last week, I got somebody pretending to be my utility company, and they just had slaughtered the English language in trying to send me an SMS. So that's something to be on the lookout for. Even more specific, if you're getting requests for account or payment specific information via these, via text or email, hairs on the back of your neck or whatever you want to say.
Your spidey sense should be
going off, because we and most reputable retailers and such will never ask for that kind of information via the phone, email. It just isn't going to happen. And so, like with that, I tell people, take a pause before you click on something, respond to a text or a phone call. And then remember, like at least when it comes to Amazon, you can always trust our website or our app. If you're getting something that just doesn't look right, just go back to the website and use and see. Like, there's a My Orders thing there on the site that you can check and see if there's an order for that against your account. Or there's the message center where you can check to see if we're trying to get in touch with you. Once again, I'll point folks to amazon.com/report-a-scam, not only to report, but to learn about scams. And then remember, you can always trust our website, amazon.com. It's a great place to go and learn and see what's coming up for Prime Day.
Well, thanks for your time, Scott. I hope Prime Day does very well for Amazon again and your selling partners as well. Thanks for chatting with us today. Very insightful. Thanks again.
Thanks, Mark.
More on Amazon Prime Day when we return on Tech It Out.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. This show is powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, and that includes its line of award-winning laptops and desktops, accessories like monitors, mice, and keyboards. There's mobile tech like smartphones and tablets, smartwatches, and much more. For those in search of incredible, visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. As you likely heard in our last segment with Amazon, the annual Prime Day is coming up, July 11th and 12th. But how do you know what you're about to buy is really a good deal? Well, for the inside scoop, and all year round, in fact, not just for Prime Day, I always trust the community at slickdeals.com. Joining us to talk about Slick Deals and Prime Day door crashers, we're joined by Vitaly Pecharsky, head of deals at Slick Deals. Hi, Vitaly. Thanks for your time today. I know it's an especially busy time of the year for you.
Hey, Mark, no kidding. And thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, great. Now, before we talk Prime Day, Vitaly, tell us about Slick Deals.
Yeah, sure thing. So Slick Deals is sort of this little worst kept secret on the internet, as we like to call it. We are a huge community of shoppers that come together and make deals happen by posting them, sharing them with other shoppers, commenting and vetting them through votes to sort of make that incredible experience that we call Slick Deals. And really, I think somebody on the internet coined a term social commerce that we really like, and we think that describes Slick Deals really well. We're not really a store that sells things, but we are a strong group of 12 million alike shoppers sharing and really making the deals happen. And deals really on anything from pantry snacks to camping equipment to AirPods to big and small screen TVs, refrigerators, washing and dryers, you name it. And chances are, if you ever come here and don't find something the first time you visit, you'll come back tomorrow and you'll see exactly the thing you didn't know you were looking for.
Yeah, and it's not just products either, but things like travel. Like you can get deals on hotel rooms or airfares, other services, not just gadgets and such. But for an example of some tech, Vitaly, is it fair to say like there's a $1,000 TV on sale at, say, Best Buy for $799, and then your community will vet that deal, as you said. They'll say, yep, this is legit, but it's only at retail, not online, so be aware of that. And this deal expires in 2 days, so they don't just confirm or refute that deal, but give you a little bit more info or context and that kind of thing. And because you're dealing with so many, I like how you say it's a little site, but it's like 12 million members strong. It's kind of like safety in numbers, because through this process, the cream rises to the top and the best of the best deals could make it to the front page if it gets voted up, and so on and so forth. So using the app or the website or the browser extension, you're getting sort of this front page to deals online and at brick and mortar. Is that fair?
That is very fair, and I think that's where the biggest strength for Slick Deals comes is that community. As you mentioned, a lot of times we'll get even receipts posted and saying, "Hey, I confirmed that in this zip code you can get this for this much," which is awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. What would you say, Vitaly, is your favorite feature of Slick Deals? I'll tell you mine in a moment.
Well, I think for me, it's really the community. I've been with Slick Deals for quite some time, and I think I've seen the community grow and evolve from being this really, really tight-knit, very sort of engaged group to a lot more everybody on the internet, right? When I say it's kind of the worst kept secret, it's really true. It's sort of there's two people in this world or on the internet: people who love Slick Deals and people who never heard of it. And that's what makes it so interesting. Those 12 million shoppers, it's like having 12 million friends that sort of, as you mentioned, will cover you from your back and tell you what to buy and what not to buy. And it's not just about price. A lot of the times they will tell you about nuances, because if you think about shoppers, there's two types of, again, shoppers. There's shoppers who are looking for something, and there's owners who own that product and have feedback, and they're not afraid to give it. And they'll tell you like, hey, this TV, if you just take it out of the box, is going to look pretty bad, but tune the black levels and it's going to be amazing. Or, Apple is notorious for really having broad product ranges, and people who have used a variety, let's say, of Apple Watches will tell you like, hey, if you're looking for this and this and this, you don't have to go Apple Watch Ultra, for example. Go and get yourself a Series 6 and you'll be super happy. Unless you need this and that or super long battery life, you're just fine.
Yeah, definitely. It's a key differentiator between Slick Deals and other shopping sites out there. My favorite feature is deal alerts. So if you want to buy something, but it's a little too high at this point, you can sign up to be notified when what you've got your eye on is at a certain price or lower. For example, I'm a huge fan of Twilight Zone, the original 1959 series, and I was starting to buy each season on Blu-ray with all the special features and all that. It could be as high as $60 a disc, believe it or not, because they're harder to find these days. So I went on Slick Deals and I said, if these are ever lower than $20, let me know. And I got 3 out of the 5 seasons for less than $4 each. So a huge deal. I had the best experience. I was super excited. And that's an example of ways to save, is by signing up for those deal alerts.
Yeah, I'm glad you love the feature. It is one of my favorite features too, because again, Slick Deals is a community-driven site. You sort of can never tell what's going to be on Slick Deals or on the coveted front page, as you mentioned, on any given day. And so some days you'll come and you're like, okay, I see a TV, a laptop, maybe a refrigerator, but what I'm really looking for is a camping tent. And maybe today we don't have an amazing deal for one. So when you set up that alert for camping tent and we get one, you'll get either an email notification or a push notification in your app. By the way, download the Slick Deals app. It's a great way to keep it on the go.
Vitaly, I know you wanted to give me a personal anecdote of your own, so please hold that thought when we return on Tech It Out. More with Vitaly Pecharsky. He is SVP of Deals at slickdeals.com or slickdeals.net if you prefer. So stick with us. More Tech It Out coming right up after this.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We are chatting with Vitaly Pecharsky, SVP of Deals or Head of Deals at slickdeals.com, a site that can save you a boatload of cash on whatever you're buying any time of the year. But I did want to invite Vitaly on because Prime Day is next week, July 11th and 12th. Vitaly, before the break, you wanted to share a story of your own using the deal alerts. Please go ahead and share.
Absolutely. We just moved. I moved from Las Vegas to Iowa to continue raising my 3 children. And in the new house, I'm looking for a couple of things. I'm looking for a brand new French door fridge. I'm setting up a movie room, so I need an audio receiver. And I'm a huge coffee snob, so I love really good espresso. And so all 3 of those are now part of my deal alerts because I need some fresh coffee, I need a new receiver, and a new French door fridge. But really, if you're looking for Legos, PlayStations, AirPods, grills, or really anything, or a new credit card, go ahead and set up a deal alert. You'll be amazed how fast you're going to start getting alerts for what you're looking for.
Is it that big of a deal as Amazon would lead us to believe?
It sure is. I think the only time of year to rival Prime Day is really the Black Friday and Cyber Monday. For us, it's sort of like the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl, right? And you can never tell which one's the better. Or maybe it's the World Series. Depends on what sports you like. And I think it's also true for our community. In a survey that we ran of folks that shopped last year's Prime Day, only 5% said that they're not planning to shop the sale this year. 95% said that they're planning to shop or at the very least check out the deals. So it is very big. I think what's gotten even more interesting, which kind of puts it in line with Black Friday, where it started as Amazon only event when it first ran. Now everybody is participating as well. All of the merchants that we partner with are doing something from Prime Day. If it's not a dedicated event, it's that sales are coming. Or if it's somebody like Walmart, for example, they're doing a whole Walmart Plus week. But again, Target and Best Buy, we absolutely anticipate some really, really good deals for Prime Day.
Awesome. So the consumer wins wherever they like to shop. Can you tell us then, Vitaly, how we can leverage Slick Deals to find the best deals on Prime Day and leading up to it as well? Because I know that there are sales on now as well.
Absolutely. One thing to keep in mind, Prime Day is exclusive to Prime members. So if you don't have a Prime membership yet, definitely get one. There's a Prime membership trial that's available for a month. If you're a student, you can get a free membership to decide if that's something you want.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a free 6-month trial for students.
Yeah, if you come to Slick Deals, you'll find all the ways to sign up for Prime Day if you're not a member yet. But once you have that, there's kind of a couple of things. Definitely check out Slick Deals on and before Prime Day. Things that we know that are going to be happening. For example, there's going to be an extra $5 promotional credit if you buy an Amazon gift card. And I think another really popular deal that's upcoming, we know on Prime Day with a catch, is a 43-inch Amazon Fire 4K TV for $100. Now, there is a catch. You won't be able to just get it on Prime Day. And that's the one that you can take part in before. What you have to do is, if you've ever seen, if you go to restaurants, you see like drop your business card for a free lunch. Amazon is doing something similar, but in a digital way. You have to go and sort of sign up and say, I'm interested in being one of the names on the list that this TV will become available to. If and only if you are selected, you'll be able to get it. But you're going to have to do it ahead of time.
All right. So it sounds like it's a bit of a draw, but wondering how many people are eligible to buy that TV for only $100.
We do not know, but as I like to say, you miss 100% of shots you don't take. So if you're interested in a 43-inch 4K TV for $100, put your name in the hat.
That's crazy. Any other door crashers you've heard of, Vitaly, leading up to and over Prime Day?
Usually Amazon is pretty tight-lipped about what's happening. They like to keep it a surprise. I think another one that we know for sure it's happening, there's going to be a 3-month Audible membership for free, which is a $45 value. So if you're a person who either has a long commute or just loves listening to books instead of reading them, that's a great deal. I know my wife is an audiobook lover, so she'll be signing up for that.
You brought up a good point, Vitaly. Usually Prime Day, or at least when it started, it was always Amazon products like Echo Dot or Echo Show or Kindle or Fire TV, that's where they had all the deals. It was their own products. Even Audible is owned by Amazon. But there are deals to be had with third-party companies, right? Like, Samsung, LG, Bose, and so on.
Yeah, that's what we're expecting as well. A lot of, merchants that also sell on Amazon, not just direct to consumer, like the brands that you've mentioned, we anticipate quite a few good deals. Probably another brand that I wouldn't be surprised seeing some really good deals from is Anchor, the battery chargers and things like that, and a lot of their house brand like Wise and Eufy, which make household gadgets and security cameras, for example.
Great brand, Anchor. And I was going to say last year there was a lot of deals on the floor vacuum robots from iRobot, like the Roomba family, but that too is going to be an Amazon product. I think they're acquiring the company, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, you got it. And the best thing to do is go to slickdeals.com, sign up for a free account. If you want to have deal alerts and accounts required, because we got to know where to send that email once we match that amazing deal for you. And kind of the other thing, if you like deals just for you, having an account lets us really personalize it and sort of understand what you're shopping for and give you the best deals that are most relevant to you on a particular day.
Awesome. Again, slickdeals.com. Vitaly, great to chat with you. I hope it's a very busy Prime Day and leading up to Prime Day for Slick Deals. And I look forward to having you back on the show again, definitely before Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Thanks again for your time. Have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for having me.
Coming up on Tech It Out, I'm going to replay that interview with ADT, the leaders in home security, about their partnership with Google, one of the biggest names in tech, partnering on that DIY solution called ADT Smart Setup. I ran this interview last weekend, but received some comments and questions about replaying it. You can always hear it, by the way, in podcast form. If you are listening to this on your local talk radio station, if you go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, formerly iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible, and so on and so forth, you can search for Tech It Out and listen to the June 30th episode. But I will be replaying that interview with ADT coming up after this short break. Before then, just want to give a shout out to Visa. We do cover cybersecurity a lot on this show and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, kind of like that first interview we did with Amazon, even if you're not super tech savvy. And one part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I am thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years. How much, you ask? $10 billion. Billion with a B. This is to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of both individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online or at retail using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out when we chat with ADT. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. In case you missed the news, ADT, arguably the biggest and most trusted brand in home security, announced the availability of its new ADT Self Setup smart home DIY security system in partnership with another huge name in tech, Google, and all controlled with a new ADT Plus app. Joining us to share the news is Wayne Thorsen, Executive Vice President and Chief Business Officer at ADT. Welcome to Tech It Out, Wayne. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mark. Happy to be here.
Great. Now, before we talk about the first fully integrated DIY offering from ADT and Google, please tell us a bit about ADT, the company.
Yeah, founded in 1874, so I've been here a minute, 150 years.
Wow.
Offering a safe, smart, and sustainable solutions for people, home, and businesses all over the United States. ADT was actually founded in Baltimore, and we do a lot still in the community in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. It was originally the American District Telegraph Company, and Edward Callahan, and he had a break-in. And so he created this telegraph-based call box to signal for assistance to a central office, and it quickly connected 50 other homes, and then went broader all across Baltimore and many other cities. And that was the creation of the first commercial alarm system.
Wow, that's just so awesome. American District Telegraph, or ADT for short, established in 1874. Tell us a bit about ADT's partnership with Google. How did it come to fruition?
Well, it's interesting because I was actually on the Google side of this. So, up until a few months ago, I ran the business development teams for Google's Devices and Services division. And one of those business units that we worked with was our Nest team. And so the Nest team inside Google actually was the consolidation of what was Google Home and the Chromecast team. And then the Nest team was an acquisition that was made several years before and was actually independent, and they merged that in with Google Home. They evolved their hardware division inside Google. And one of those things that we were doing during this period is we were thinking about, what it is that we want to focus on. What is it that we think was going to create the most helpful home? Where could we, really, we at Google, where could we be the most helpful to people? And as we were thinking through home security, we started really thinking about the people who were doing it really well, ADT, of course, being foremost among those. And how could we offer something more to them? Jim DeVries recently had become the CEO at that period. And so he and I had started speaking during that time. And we started thinking through how could we add daily use cases into the experience that people had so that it was something much more valuable, knowing when packages were delivered, knowing when your kids got home, in addition to the safety that ADT provided, not just obviously from intrusion, but pro monitoring for smoke alarm, for CO, aging in place.
And that's a huge trend today, yeah. Living longer independently at home. So peace of mind, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And peace of mind often, though, is one component of it, but you also want to have daily use cases that are maybe not as, preventing something as catastrophic, but that daily utility really helps with engagement. And people want both. And you know what? Because the devices are smart enough now, you can have both. And so that's what we try to figure out. How can we add our daily value against these massive, life-saving emergency values, and how can we put that all together and create an experience that provides both? And that's what we started working towards.
Yeah, it sounds like a perfect marriage. So ADT and Google. So we've got this new ADT Self Setup smart home security system. So again, it's a DIY approach.
Yeah, so this is a huge initiative for us with Google. We started those discussions in 2019, and we made the announcement of the partnership in 2020, and then we really got to work. And so in order to really make this work, we had to create our own platform. And so ADT had traditionally been almost a systems integrator of many other people's devices and services. And now, we're working with our own hardware in addition to Google's hardware, in addition to many other, great partners. This is our own platform for the first time. And what it does is it integrates, all of the features of Nest and Google Home and all those wonderful things that can happen because of the great machine learning that they do with their cameras, in addition to all of our, award-winning pro monitoring to provide all of that, and the hardware partners that we work with, as well as things like smart monitoring and things of that nature that are, of course, industry leading and are really unique innovations as well.
All right. Could you elaborate on how ADT now integrates? So Nest is a collection of cameras, and there's the thermostat, video doorbells, and all that.
Yeah, and the Google Assistant devices, the hubs, the thermostats and devices are all controllable through the app. All of the camera clips are all available in the app. And in fact, being a Nest Aware subscriber or having those cameras allows us to do things like alarm verification that we were never able to do before. So the alarm verification it reduces false alarms, in some cases by over 50%. This is a big thing for security. And
do you mean a home alarm if someone broke in, or CO2 or smoke alarm?
What we're really talking about is more intrusion in this case.
Yeah.
So what happens here is the video verification, comes about in two different ways. So if an alarm event is triggered, what happens now, and in many cases, is just where the zone where the alarm was triggered, that's the only place where you're going to see a clip. In this case, it actually looks across all clips, and we use some of the machine learning to determine, hey, did something suspicious happen over here before an alarm was picked up? Mm-hmm. And then in addition to that, because of the integrations that we're doing with PSAPs and with other things, we're able to send to a PSAP an electronic payload and let the PSAP know electronically that there is an emergency. So things happen much faster. And because we're able to rate door verification, the understanding of how dire an emergency this is, because we have verification, because we have some level of sound verification, this accelerates response from emergency services. So this is really extraordinary thing that is starting to happen. So it's not just the reduction of false alarms, it's also an acceleration of response from emergency services.
More with Wayne Thorsen from ADT when we return on Tech It Out.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
are chatting with Wayne Thorsen, EVP and Chief Business Officer at ADT. We're learning about this new partnership with Google. It's the ADT Self Setup Smart Home DIY security system. So I did want to ask you about ADT Smart Monitoring. I'm not sure if that is the same thing you were just chatting about. If so, does this notify you when you're at home only, or if you're on the go? You mentioned an app. You could be notified that there might be an incident happening at home?
Absolutely. Both you and emergency contacts can be notified, not just in the home, but it's also on the go. When you get an alarm notification on your phone, as an example, you can verify it immediately so that it goes immediately to a 911 call center. You can say it is a false alarm. One of the things that happens quite a bit, as you know, is there are false alarms. And because of the prevalence of false alarms, it causes all sorts of first responder issues. It's expensive, right?
Yeah.
When there's a dispatch that wasn't needed, but also your emergency contacts. Your emergency contacts can be part of this. If you were unavailable or you were not there, they can also verify whether there was a verified event or not.
If it isn't a false call, Wayne, is it police services who are dispatched, or is it private security, or it depends on the city or state that you're in?
It's going to go to a 911, and so it's going to be a police dispatch, absolutely.
Okay.
But our agents are involved and can help monitor and facilitate this. So like a quick example, front door window entry may have caused an alarm, but the backyard camera may have caught someone walking around the side of the house. So because we have video verification, traditionally an alarm system with video verification, even if you have that, would have only pulled the video from the single zone that caused the alarm. Now with smart monitoring, we pull all the video from the cameras, and the machine learning would look for anomalies and things of that nature that may have led up to the situation. And so this allows you not just to understand if there was an event to verify that there was, but also provide details and context of what the event is, which is helpful obviously for the homeowners, as well as our monitoring agent, as well as the first responders who would be responding to that.
Can you tell us what you can do with the new ADT Plus app?
Absolutely. So in addition to access...
Absolutely. Sorry. I thought that's what you said. It was Father's Day last Sunday, so dad joke.
I think that's actually going to have to be my email signature. That's unbelievable. I don't know how I missed that before. So I think accessing the live streaming and interacting with people who are at your front door, seeing all the clips, getting package notifications, getting familiar face notifications, all of the things that we love about the machine learning that's incredibly helpful from Google, for sure. Two-way talk, being able to control your thermostats, being able to control lights and Z-Wave devices in your home, smart lock, all of that through the app and all in one place and all coordinated together. This is incredibly important to have these devices also integrated with an alarm system. In addition to that, there is, of course, as we were talking about, the smart monitoring, all of this, of course, backed by our professional monitoring.
Now, before we wrap up, I know this is a DIY system, but do you need to be tech savvy in order to set it up and use it? Could you maybe just walk us through the process? And I'm sure it's modular as well. You can start with some Google Nest devices and then augment what you already have with additional sensors and cameras and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the benchmark that we use for the product team is our chief technology officer's mom. So if she can do it, we can all do it. Is Raya, our chief technology officer. Her mom is she uses as the benchmark. So no special tools required to set up your ADT hardware. You don't even need a screwdriver. And step-by-step instructions are in the ADT Plus app, and they walk a customer through the activation steps. For some of the Nest devices and Google devices, and occasionally a screwdriver is required, but simple step-by-step instructions are provided in the Google Home app for those. On average, it takes about 15 to 30 minutes to set up a system, depending on how many sensors you want to place.
And I know this is customizable. Does that also include the different kind of monthly contract options? Maybe you can talk to us about costs. How much does the ADT Self Setup Smart Home Security System start at? And what's the call to action? How do we get going?
Yeah, so ADT.com is a perfect place to get started to build your own package. The packages can start as low as $155, and the monthly contract options can start at $24.99 a month.
Oh, okay.
ADT.com, that's a place to get.
ADT.com. And again, this new partnership between ADT and Google, the DIY solution is called ADT Self Setup. And that's the smart home security system for both homes and small businesses, once again. All right, Wayne, great to chat with you. Thanks so much. Congrats on this big announcement. Very exciting times for ADT. Almost 150 years after the start of the company. Thank you so much again, Wayne. All the best.
Mark, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and congrats on 300 episodes.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that too. Officially number 303 with this show. Thanks for tuning in to Tech It Out, everyone. Powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. We gave away a ZenBook laptop to a lucky winner to celebrate the 300th episode of Tech It Out. Asus.com has more. Speaking of your computers, don't forget to properly back up your important files just in case something happens to your laptop, it becomes lost or stolen. I always trust SanDisk and Western Digital drives because I find them to be the most reliable. There's always sales, including next week on Prime Day, and you can learn more at westerndigital.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to catching up with you next weekend for another episode of Tech It Out. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.